What's up, guys? Got a new lift kit from Amazon for my 4-seat RZR. It's a 3 to 5 inch. It was $150. There are about 3 of them on there that are a little bit cheaper. It looks just like the high lifter lift, but I think they're all basically the same lifts, just different names, different distributors. This one, it does have black powder coat. From what I can tell, everything looks pretty good on it. No scratches, no dings, no nothing like that. And this one did actually come with instructions. I know there is one on there that doesn't come powder coated. It just looks like metal, and a big complaint about it is it doesn't have instructions. So but it was only $130, so I figured for $20 go ahead and get the powder coat and see if it came with instructions. So but if you're looking to spend about half the price and get a lift on there, we'll see how this one does. We'll get it on there. The packaging was pretty good. It came in the box. The box wasn't all beat up, and each component was all wrapped up in the foam and bubble wrap and everything. So packaging and shipping was pretty decent on it too. So we'll get started putting it on, and I'll get back with you then. Okay, so we got the front on. It is 2 pieces, and it sandwiches here on this frame rail here. And all this, when you go in to do it, you pop the little zip tie tabs, and you got to move them out of the way, and then get them re-zip tied in. I'll do a underneath here. Get a light here. Okay. Let's see if I can show you. Okay, there you can see where it's sandwiched on that original frame rail, and put the spacers in, and then that's where the shock ends up mounting, and you got a spacer for it too. The only thing we came across that we had to do is the bolts wouldn't actually fit through the holes. The machining has it to where they're pretty snug, and then once it's powder coated, it leaves a little bit in there and makes it kind of hard to get the bolts through. So we just went through and reamed it out with a drill and was able to get them back through pretty easy. Got everything bolted up, and we'll see if we have to do that to the rear. I'm sure we probably will. I'll let you know. But we'll get started on them, and we'll cut back to it. Alright guys, we got one side of the back done, and that's what it looks like in there. That's the existing shock mount right there, and then the bracket relocates it back here. We did not have to drill this one to let the bolts come through, but there is a lot more involved in getting this one in. You have to take the bed loose to get enough room to get it slid in there and come down over top. I'll show you that here in just a second. And then this strap right here, I don't know if you can see it, there's a strap that runs up, and then it bolts right there. I had to unbolt that strap and get it loose so I could slide the black bracket around and then re-bolt it in place. And obviously we took the air tubes and everything out to have enough room to get it in there. But this is how this works. Let me get set here. So that bracket looks like this up there. So it has to almost go in and then turn a little bit to have enough, because unless you take the bed completely out, you're not going to be able to drop it straight down. And this part here is what the bolts to where the original shock was. And then these two here, well, and you get this kind of spacer. That spacer goes in right there. And then this acts as your spacer for these two bolts. and it'll actually sandwich up against your original bar, but it sits in there, and then these two bolts hold it in place in there. Let's see if I can get you to see that. So it goes in there, and then it sits on top of this bolt, sits on top of this bolt up against your frame bar, and then this is where your shock mounts. So we'll get the other side in and we'll go from there. Oh, I forgot about that. Yep, and these come with little shock spacers. So once you get your shock in there, this is obviously bigger than what your shock is. The front was the same way. But if you do this, make sure you put that spacer to the back side to push the shock more to the outside, and then that helps it get away from the exhaust pipe coming in. So yeah, I put the spacer on this side to push the shock out. So alright, we'll get the other side on, get the tires on, see what we got. It's looking like we'll probably put some take some load out of the shocks and get some more suspension in it. So alright, stay tuned. Alright guys, there it is. We got it all back together, and the lift's completely on, and yeah, the back's all back together and the wheels are back on. It did raise it up. The floor is not really very level. It's just a gravel floor with these mats. But after we took it out and drove it and got the suspension to work and the shocks to sag and get some use in them and get them settled in, we done that a few times to get some adjustments and everything around, and once it's on the trail we may do some more, but on an average we did gain about 3 to 4 inches. Got about 17 in the back and 17 in the front. I can get a tape on there. Let me see here. Try to do this here. So if you can see that there. Yeah, it's about 17 there. Go around to the front here. And about, you can see that it's roughly about 17 across. I'm trying to hold the tape and the camera here, but on an average we got about 17. Sometimes it measures a little bit different from high and low spots on the floor here. Do have the Sedona Rockabillys 30 by 10 by 14s as opposed to the stock 29 Maxxis Bighorns. They're obviously a little bit bigger and taller than the Bighorns. This lift here, so from what I can tell, it's a pretty good lift. If you want to save some money, it is a bracket lift, obviously, instead of the spacers like Super ATV that's like on Swilly's and the other guy Rex's machine. They just put a spacer in the back here. The front, compared to the two lifts, are about the same. They take about the same amount of time. Super ATV uses the same kind of situation. Only it's a one piece instead of a two piece. Really can't tell where one or the other is better. But this is definitely is one that would be better if you had two guys to do, as much as you have to take apart and do here in the back. I know when we put the Super ATV lift on Swilly and Rex's, we could probably do both machines, both lifts in its entirety in the same amount of time it took to just do this one here with the way the brackets are in the back. So if that's something you don't want to mess with tearing everything apart, then maybe that's the way you'd want to go. Later on we can kind of compare, see which lift somebody might like a little better, or there may not be any real differences. I know Swilly's been talking about how the inside here of the shock with his spacer, you can hear it squeak and rub, and you can see where it's rubbing inside here, and he's not really fond of that. From what I can tell, the other guys that have the Super ATVs haven't really said much, but I just know from him that's what his kind of complaint is about it. But yeah, overall, if you are looking to put a lift on your machine and you want to save a little bit of money and go about half the price of some of the others, this one came from Amazon, and hopefully this video will help if you're considering it and what goes into it. But it did raise it up, and later on, like I said, if there's any issues or something breaks on them or anything else, I'll be sure to let you know. And right here I'll throw in a clip of what it looked like before compared to now. And so if this helped and you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're already a subscriber, thank you very much. And if you are considering on being a subscriber, please do so. That'll help a bunch. If you got any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll see what I can do to answer them. We got more ride content coming. We got some more trips planned that we're going to try to get accomplished here once spring comes. Maybe if the winter doesn't end up being too bad, we might do some winter rides. I got some more stuff, got some more goodies that come from Amazon. I'll get thrown on here, and I'll give you some info on that, and we'll go from there. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.